The past attracts me, the present frightens me, because the future is death. Hello everyone, Adrienne here. So today I am here to present a new novel for you that I'm going to be reviewing today, and it is incredibly intriguing, romantic, and very dark. I wouldn't go so much as classifying this as a gothic novel as much as a psychological romance or a psychological drama, but either way, this really captivated me. However, there are certain elements of the gothic novel that are present in this story, and it's super intense. Guy de Maupassant holds a very significant place in 19th century literature, particularly in France. In my opinion, there are a lot of French writers that are unfairly neglected in the world of Gothic literature, and Guy de Maupassant is definitely one of them. He was definitely a definitive writer of the second half of the 19th century. What originally attracted me to his work is that he had a gift for writing thrillers and horror stories that were rather short. This novel, while not quite horror nor thriller, it definitely took me by surprise. This novel is Like Death. It was written in 1889 and it was Guy de Maupassant's fifth novel. Like Death follows the story of a French painter named Olivier Bertin, who earned his fame from his most renowned painting named Cleopatra. So this garnered him plenty of attention and recognition from the celebrities as well as the aristocrats of the day, and commissioned him many a time to paint portraits of the bourgeois women. Olivier, however, is not terribly interested in these blue-blooded women he is commissioned to paint. He finds them trite, mundane, and terribly tiresome. One noble lady does capture his attention, though. He meets Countess Anne de Guilleroy at a party one night and instantly is enchanted by her beauty, her wit, and her charm, and definitely her intelligence. He decides at this point that he needs to capture her on canvas. As Olivier paints the beautiful Countess in his lonely art studio, the two have deep and meaningful conversations that turn to fond friendship. That fond friendship then turns to love. Olivier is maddened by his passion for the Countess de Guilleroy, and they begin having an affair. This leads to the Countess feeling very guilt-ridden about the affair, since she was happily married to her husband, the Count de Guilleroy, and had a 5-year-old daughter with him. Despite this, Countess de Guilleroy decides to keep in contact with Olivier by allowing him in her upper-class social circles. He brings her happiness, and why would she want to throw that away? No one in Parisian high society suspects a thing. They just assume the Countess and the illustrious painter are just good friends. He even becomes good friends with her husband. Highly unusual, don't you think? Their affair lasts peacefully for 12 years, but something comes along that disturbs that peace. Something that Olivier never expected would ever happen. Anne's daughter Annette, now 18, is introduced to Parisian high society. She is the exact spitting image of her mother, and everyone, especially Olivier, definitely takes notice. Olivier is enchanted by the young Annette. She is the more youthful, spirited version of her mother. Her blossoming beauty and exuberance stir in Olivier a passion he hasn't felt in many years. This even results in feelings of jealousy toward Annette's fiancé. Olivier refuses to acknowledge his feelings for Annette until Anne confronts him about it. All the while, Anne voices her concerns and fears about the encroaching possibility of death, and how she fears her beauty and youth are slowly but surely slipping away, and her daughter is taking her place in the heart of the melancholy painter. This same mad passion that Olivier felt toward the Countess have now been torn by the claws of his longing for Annette. And it is within Olivier's thoughts, brilliantly written by Guy de Maupassant, that I have found some of the most beautiful, melancholy, and expressive lines of ardent love I have ever read in 19th century literature. This lunacy, this disturbed love that Olivier feels and expresses in the novel is a perfect example of psychological introspection, which is definitely reminiscent of Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart. Not surprising when you consider that Guy de Maupassant was a very big fan of Poe. and very much influenced by him, especially in his horror stories and his thrillers. This encroaching fear of death that the Countess feels when challenged by the youth and beauty of her daughter is something that even today we can still address. The unrealistic standards of beauty that society expects us to adhere to. They were as strong back then as they are now. Sometimes it even reaches into alternative subcultures, which are supposed to be a giant fuck you to unrealistic beauty standards of mainstream society. Anne spends more time at the Vanity trying to hide her maturing skin, but is still feeling unable to compete with her daughter for the affections of her longtime lover. Maybe her love for Olivier is still clutching at those long past times that they were once happy, where she was still young and still beautiful. This is also mirrored by Olivier's fear that he is aging and will eventually become obsolete. He becomes gaunt, pale, and his hair turns white. He further feels meaningless and insignificant when a newspaper review dubs his work old-fashioned. Perhaps the love he feels for Annette is his only link to his younger days when his affair with her mother first began. The excitement of new love, that craving of youth and beauty, of never dying. He refuses to come to terms with the passage of time when he sees the woman he loves so dearly slowly deteriorating. And the same thing within his own reflection in the mirror. Annette is his reminder that the good old days that he loved so dearly are now gone. So guys, when I came across this novel, I really didn't know what to expect. There was a really very brief description of it on Amazon, and I thought, oh, this looks actually pretty intriguing. I might check this out. And I'm really glad that I went for it, because I had really been hooked in by Guy de Maupassant's horror stories, which are fantastic. They are so great. He really keeps you on the edge of your seat. And the first horror story of his that I ever read was Diary of a Madman, and that was incredible. Oh my god. That was so great. When it came to this, him diving into the world of psychological introspection through a romance novel, I was really impressed. I really don't know how he masterfully wove those themes and elements together into one novel, but wow, it was captivating. It was definitely a shock. It was definitely a pleasant surprise for me. Would I call this a Gothic novel? Probably not. Maybe? Perhaps. But you do have a lot of themes of Gothic literature in this particular work. For example, you have this obsession with youth and beauty being captured in the young Annette, and this longing for the past to kind of come back within Countess Anne as well as Olivier. And it's really fascinating to see those elements woven together. And this constant fear of death and aging is experienced by both the male protagonist as well as his romantic counterpart, Anne. So it's really unusual that that same kind of fear forebodes both types of figures. Really strange, but awesome at the same time. This particular translation by Richard Howard is very well done. It's really like, casts its, claws into your heart and just pulls you in the way that this novel presents itself. And you have a lot of scenes where Olivier is forced to confront his feelings, not only just for his longtime lover, but for her daughter. This is drawn out sometimes in long detail, but the way that Guy de Maupassant really expresses himself in this book is really incredible. It really is. I was really taken by surprise, like I said, and it was really wonderful. It's definitely a good treat for those who like Gothic literature but kind of want to take a break from the rattling chains and ghosts in the corridors kind of stuff. So I think you guys will enjoy this. I will leave a link for this particular edition down in the description below for you to check out. I highly recommend it. It is really good. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that video. I certainly enjoyed reviewing it. It was wonderful to revisit this book for you guys because I really enjoyed it. So I'm really sincerely hoping that you guys will enjoy it too. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later. Bye!